My baby demanded to see a grizzly bear on our trip to the Tetons in Yellowstone, and luckily he got his wish on our last day of our trip. We saw a bunch of cars that were pulled over as we were driving towards Yellowstone, so we started slowing down, and suddenly a bear popped his head up on the side of the road. Obviously, we stayed in our vehicle, but I was able to get some really cool clips. At the time, I thought it was a black bear because it wasn't that big, but looking back, I can definitely see a hump and a very clear grizzly face. This was without a doubt the best bear sighting I've ever had, and I was very grateful it was from the safety of our vehicle. We spent our day in Yellowstone driving the lower loop going counterclockwise. Since we didn't eat before leaving camp, we stopped at the Grant Village dining room for some breakfast before heading to the West Thumb Geyser Basin area of the park. I would consider Yellowstone to be a very baby and toddler friendly national park because of how the park infrastructure is laid out. There are a lot of areas that are stroller friendly or just have short walks, and the West Thumb Geyser Basin area is one of them. There are a bunch of unique geothermal features along with interpretive information to help you learn about them. After that, we continued driving the lower loop and made a stop to see the mud volcanoes. Some of the trails here were temporarily closed due to bear activity, so we just did a quick loop on the boardwalk closest to the trailhead. Then we went to my favorite area of the park, the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. We visited the North Rim and made stops at Lookout Point, Grand Viewpoint, and Inspiration Point. We brought our stroller out at Lookout Point and Grand Viewpoint and were able to see some pretty epic views, but there are stairs that go down to other viewing platforms at Lookout Point that we had to skip. We grabbed lunch at Canyon Village and hit up the gift shops and visitor center for a bit to get a break from driving before getting back in the car and going to see the Grand Prismatic Overlook. I've seen Grand Prismatic Spring from the boardwalk before, but this is my first time heading up to the overlook, and I have to say the view from up here is so much prettier. We got back to our car around 5:30 and had a bit of a drive to get back to camp, so we decided to skip Old Faithful, but if you're not traveling with a baby and can knock things out faster, that's another iconic stop along the lower loop. As we were driving back to camp, we had another bear cross the road in front of us. Wildlife crossings are a huge reason why it's so important to drive the speed limit when visiting Yellowstone in the Tetons. After we got back to camp, we made some quick quesadillas and then hit the sack after our big day. The highlight of the day was definitely the bear sightings, and that was just the perfect way to end our trip to Yellowstone in the Tetons.